as you guys already know, it's the last big grade of the first quarter. All right, quarter ends next Friday. So again, a reminder, I don't think it doesn't really pertain to anybody in here, but if you owe any test or quizzes or outstanding homework because you're absent, they're due by next Friday. All right, so tomorrow is the last big grade of the first quarter. It covers days 1 through 5. Days 1 through 5 in your packet. We are about to do day 6 when I'm done reviewing for the quiz. Day 6, nothing on the quiz from day 6. It's all days 1 through 5. It ends with yesterday's notes. So here you go. Here's what to expect. This is up on Classroom, by the way, so you don't have to feel the need to take notes. There will be, I think, 6 questions on there that deal with, I'm going to take 2 triangles, mark it up. And then you're going to look at it and say, are the 2 triangles congruent by one of the 4 methods or not possible? Might be a way to. I'm telling you, look at your day 4 notes right now. Just so you know, can you just go there quickly? Because this might be the last time some of you do this. Go to page 12, please. Page 12 and 13. That's what I'm talking about. On page 12 and 13. All right, page 12 and 13. I think I put about 6 of those on there. Okay, and remember, tomorrow on those questions, I do not mark the shared side and I do not mark vertical angles. That is your job to do first before you tell me if they're congruent by one of the 4 methods. I'll get fired up now so I don't have to get fired up at my desk when I'm correcting your quizzes tomorrow. Not going to make an appearance on anybody's quiz tomorrow. These are not methods. All right, if you write this down, they're probably not congruent. All good. Is everyone locked in? Not daydreaming here on me. These 2 should not appear on your quiz tomorrow. It is not methods. Good? All right, so went over that part. Last 2 classes, I'll admit, we've been heavy in the proof department, real heavy. We also had, the first 2 days had nothing to do with proofs, remember? And you're going to be quizzed on that. Interior angles of a triangle, 180 degrees in every triangle. And again, I put that up there and everyone's like, oh, I know that. I don't need to study that. All right, well, remember too, we have these diagrams where you have a triangle within another one. Every triangle up here has what? 180 degrees. Okay, 180 degrees. And I tell you that, can I bring it back up here quick? I want to remind you of a homework problem we had. Was it been? That was that day, I bet. Remember that bad boy? We got something similar to that tomorrow. Okay, something similar to that tomorrow. All right, where there will be a big triangle, and then within the triangle are a bunch of littler ones, 180 degrees and everything. Okay, 180 degrees and everything. All right, so just a reminder there. Also, if I give you the 3 angles of a triangle in a ratio of 2 to 3 to 4, what do we put with the 2 to 3 to 4 before we write any equation? If I tell you 3 angles of a triangle in a ratio of 2 to 3 to 4, can't use them, Sloan. What do I put with them? X's, then I use them. Okay, put X's with them. That's what I mean by angles in a ratio. Triangle exterior angle theorem. What's angle 1 equal to up there? Using this theorem you guys found out when I put you in groups. Taylor, go ahead. Angle 3 plus angle 4. All right, exterior angles equal to the sum of the 2 remote interiors. All right, again, all this stuff here are days 1 and 2. Days 1 and 2, don't forget about them. And then I will ask a question using some vocab on what type of triangle it is. So make sure you're familiar how to name a triangle, either based by its angles or its sides. And that came from day 1. And then at the end, there's going to be 2 proofs. I guarantee you the proofs are not any harder than the ones you did on homework. Okay, they're not going to be any tougher than the ones I've assigned on homework. Any questions? There's your review. If you want to practice, I don't know if anybody saw me post it on Classroom, but there is a Delta Math now if you want to try some stuff on your own. All right, so there's a Delta Math. The Delta Math does contain some proofs as well, along with some algebra questions if you want to do any tonight. All good? Questions there on the quiz tomorrow. You're going to come in. The divider and the quiz will be on your desk, but we'll go over homework first. I will check the homework, and then you can start the quiz. All right, so I am checking tonight's homework. Anything. I'll be here after school, and there's a Delta Math if you want to practice. All good? Do we move on? All set? All right, day 6. Again, day 6, not on the quiz. Not on the quiz. Here's what I'm going to talk to you today. What happens after the triangles are congruent now? You prove the triangles congruent by one of the 4 methods. How can we make the proof a step longer now? Before we hop into a proof, though, you'll notice I'm giving you in the first question, triangle WIS is congruent to triangle EUP. What's missing? A diagram. I don't need one. I don't need a diagram right now. If you want to draw one, you can. I prefer you don't. Use your congruent statement. Use your congruent statement. First one up, I want a pair of sides that are congruent now. If you know those 2 triangles are congruent, if you can, try not to draw the diagram. Give me a pair of sides now that must be congruent, just using my statement now. Because remember, that statement is written so all the sides match up. They correspond to each other. Give me a pair of sides here. Shoom, I'll get to you. Connor, give me a pair of sides. Good. WI congruent to EU. Perfect. All right. Somebody give me another pair of sides that must be congruent. I got WI and EU. Good start, Connor. Good start. Using your statement. Amelia, how about another one? You good. IS congruent to UP. Perfect. And then finally, I'll take this one. How about WS is congruent to side EP? Is everyone all right on how everyone's getting those? They're using the statement. All right, how about 3 pairs of angles now that are congruent? We know the sides are. How about the angles? What angles are congruent in these 2 triangles? Lucia, give me a pair of angles. Use a single letter. Good. Angle W. It has to be congruent to angle E. How about one more pair, and I'll take care of the rest. There. Warren, what's good? Yep. And then the final pair of angles is angle S congruent to angle P. All right, perfect. We understand how to match them up. How did we know they were congruent? What was congruent in the givens? How did we know all these sides and all these angles? I understand how we matched them up. We used the statement. But how did we know to put congruent, Connor? It's all right. It's all right. Sloan, how do we know? The triangles are congruent. If the triangles are congruent, so are all the sides and angles. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to ask you to prove a pair of sides or angles congruent, but the triangles need to be congruent first. So here's our conclusion. All these here you gave me, the sides and angles, we're going to start calling them corresponding parts. That's what all 6 of these are, corresponding parts. Corresponding parts in, what do we know about the triangles again? Corresponding parts in congruent triangles are congruent. Welcome to the last reason now in your proofs. Welcome to the last reason. If the triangles are congruent, so are the parts. All good? Triangles are congruent, so are the parts. Look at proof number 1. Go ahead, set it up, mark your diagram with whatever you need. We'll get back together in 45 seconds. And take a look at the proof statement. I need your help proving angle ACD congruent to BCD, these two top ones. All right, so far, the only thing really I have given you that would prove the angles congruent is third angle theorem. Remember that one? Third angle theorem? But what needs to be congruent first before I use third angle theorem? Lucia, go ahead. What's that? Oh. What did the third angle say? I need the first two pair, right? I need the first two pair of angles congruent to get the third pair. That ain't happening here. You are not going to get the angles congruent to get the third pair. So now, going back to what Lucia just said, hey, if you want the angles congruent, what's got to be congruent first? The triangles. Okay, you want those angles congruent, you can get the triangles congruent, then they will be. So this is great practice going into tomorrow's quiz, because we're pros at this now. If you get me the triangles congruent, we'll get the angles congruent. So that's our first goal. Let's get the triangles congruent. Did I give you guys anything here? Sides or angles? Did I give you anything to start out with? Darn right I did. I gave you a pair of sides right here. You're welcome. Now you're on the hook for the other two pair. Prove the triangles, then the angles will be congruent. All right, you're up. Next, give me a pair of something that's congruent. Angles or sides here. Angles or sides. Pretend this is the quiz tomorrow. Alex?
CD.
All right, we got a shared side. CD, congruent to itself. Reflexive. All right, two down, one to go. One to go. Where's the other pair going to hang out here? Use all the givens, right? Use all the givens. They're there to use, not to skip. True. Nick, what else is true about this diagram? Why? Me neither, so it's probably not, right? Nick, can we use our given here? D is the midpoint of AB.
Yeah.
I gave it to you for a reason. If D is the midpoint of AB, what's got to be congruent? C? Well, okay, well, let's back up. What's midpoint mean again?
It's like in the middle.
Correct. Cuts it into two congruent parts.
Oh, AB is congruent.
Okay, here we go. Hey, knowing our vocab, right? We've said this from day one. Know our vocab. AD congruent to DB. Definition of a midpoint. There's another pair of full sides. I think we have three pair. Everyone's good? All right. Ooh, sorry about this, kids. It's just not copy the proof statement. You actually have to make up a triangle statement that matches up now. So name one of the two triangles any way you want. Let's start there. Adriana, can you name one of the triangles any way you want? Sure. Triangle ACD. All right, if we go ACD, kids, because I do check this. How do you name the other triangle then appropriately? ACD and maybe I'll get one here. There we go. Oh, Adriana, back to you. Created your own mess there. ACD and, but you clean it up well. BCD, perfect. Method. Charlotte, good job. That's your quiz tomorrow right there. There's your quiz. We move on though. That's not what I asked you to prove. We asked you to prove the angles inside those triangles. So now the triangles are congruent. So are all the parts. So are all the parts now, right? That's why we got the triangles congruent. So we could say any of the parts, including the proof statement, ACD and I just did. Was that BCD? Are congruent. I just got to give you our new reason here. Is everyone all right? Why we're saying the angles now? If the triangles are any parts, including these angles, and here it is. Well, we'll do it again. Corresponding parts. Where do they have to be? Where do they have to be though? Those corresponding parts in congruent triangles are congruent. Whoa. I usually don't have good news in here because I like seeing you suffer. But this is good news here. That's the last time you have to write all that. Okay, you can now write the classic geometry abbreviation for that. The classic abbreviation, which is the following. C, corresponding parts in congruent triangles are congruent. CPCTC. CPCTC. Let it roll off the tongue a couple times. Go ahead, kids. Go ahead. CPCTC. Let it roll off the tongue a little bit. It's a tongue twister at first, but it'll come easier. Let it roll off the tongue. CPCTC. Okay, a couple things about CPCTC. You can use it. You can write that anytime you want. Tests, quizzes, regents exam, the midterm. That's fine. If you're going to do it, though, it better be the correct letters in the correct order, or I do have to take off a point. All right. You can't be like CP, XYZ, ABC. I don't know the order, so I'm making stuff up. All right. It's got to be the correct order. Also, do not get this confused. This is not a method to prove triangles congruent. You only have 4. This is not one of the 4. All good there? This is after you prove triangles congruent. So this is not, before we go on to the next proof, this is not showing up on your quiz tomorrow, please. All right, this is not on your quiz tomorrow. CPCTC, don't try to show off. It's not on there. Okay, wait for the test to show off. All right, let's roll. Now we get in the hang of this. Go ahead and set everything up you need. All right, we're going to prove SQ and PR. Those sides aren't going to be congruent unless what's congruent first? Leo, got to prove the triangles first. All right, all these are prove the triangles so you can get the parts equal. All right, this isn't too bad. Don't think the ones on the quiz tomorrow are going to be this easy, by the way. Q congruent in R, I gave you a pair of angles, yes. And QPS, RSP, I gave you a pair of angles there. You're welcome. 2 pair, you're on the hook for the other pair of something. Where is it? Right, where is it? I gave you 2 pair. Oh, first, hold on. Let's talk about this. Nobody in here, if they get called on, is giving me another pair of angles, correct? Because angle is not a way. You know it's got to be a side. You know it's got to be a side if I already have 2 angles. Because angle is never a method. All right, where is it then? Where is this magic side we're looking for? Amelia? Shared side, yep. Everyone loves a shared side. Tough part is, what's your method going to be here? Actually, before we even do the method, let's talk about how to write this statement that they're congruent, because I just can't copy it anymore. You start, name a triangle any way you want. Start it off. Addie, name any triangle you want. Sure. PRS. Make sure you match up everything now. P to R to S. How you naming the second triangle then if you go PRS? As me, how do I name the second one? PRS. Doesn't R match up with Q, right? And if I write PSQ, R is going to match up with S, right? R is congruent to Q, so I want to make sure they match up. So you want to adjust that? Wherever you see how I put R in the middle there, the second one. PQS, yep. All right, here you go. This is good practice for tomorrow. What's my method going to be? You got to figure out if that side, this shared side here, is in between or not. cover up one of the triangles, look at the other one, see if the side's in between. All right, what method am I going to use here? What's the one of the four methods I'm going to end up using, Connor?
AAS.
Angle, side, because if you cover it up, PS is not in the middle of those two angles. Okay. Hey, I know I'm getting some weird looks. You can't, here's the problem. Some of you are looking at two different triangles and saying the side's in between. Look, if cover up one of them, that side is not in between those two angles there. Okay, I get it. It's between these two, but you're looking at two different triangles. To answer the question if it's in between or not, you have to look at one triangle only. All good? And then finally, all right, the triangles are congruent. So are any of the parts, including SQ congruent to PR. And then let it roll off the tongue. CPCTC. CPCTC. Not on the quiz. I don't care if it gets annoying. It's not on the quiz tomorrow. CPCTC. Just proving triangles is. All good? Any issues? And of course, we got to do a tough one to end it. We always do, because that brings you misery and that brings me joy. Go ahead, set it up. How's this one different than the last two I did with you? It's got multiple triangles now. Last two, I didn't even bring it up. It wasn't a discussion in the last two because there's only two triangles. It's got to be those two I proved congruent. How do you decide which two to prove congruent here now? Right? There's multiple triangles, so how do I know which two? Look at the proof statement. Find those angles right now. Find those angles I wrote in the proof statement. You see the two triangles they're in? Highlight them. Those are the two we need to prove congruent. All right, whatever angles I'm asking you to prove, find what triangles they're in, highlight them, and those are the two we need congruent. Okay, so anytime you have a diagram with multiple triangles, go right to the proof statement, find where those parts are. And those are the two triangles we're going to prove congruent. So it's okay if you have multiple triangles in the diagram, just look at the proof statement, find the two angles and find where they are. And these are the two triangles we're going to prove congruent. All right, you ready to do it? All right, you have a pair of sides there. So I need two other people to tell me where the other pairs are. So take a peek, use your givens. Where are the other two pairs of congruent parts? I have one pair. Where's the other? Name another pair for me up there. Taylor?
Angle BAI is congruent to angle CAI.
See, all right, you took the tough one away from somebody. Good for you. Respect those two angles right there. Yep. Angle BAI congruent to angle CAI. I know why. Obviously, she knows why, but do you know why? Why are those two angles congruent to each other? Why are we putting arc marks there? Lola.
Definition of process.
Yeah, yep. There's a pair of angles. Good work. One more pair of parts for me. One more pair of parts. I think Taylor took the easier one there, but we'll see. Leo?
AI congruent to A.
Yeah, that shared side. Whew. All right, we got enough. correct statement now, right? Write the correct statement. Start with one triangle for me. Name it. Name it. Charlotte, name one of those triangles. ABI, you got it. All right, we're going to go ABI. If you don't like we did it that way, blame Charlotte. ABI. How do you name the other triangle then? Sloan, what's good? ABI and?
ACI.
You got it. And how about the method? What one of the four methods works here? Ooh, going deep there, Eli. Side angle side, yep. That's where your proof would end tomorrow. But we're asked to prove the angles. Angle ABI now is congruent to ACI. I just want to hear somebody say it. How do we know there, Dexter?
CPCTC.
Good way to take your time there. CPCTC. All right, before I call it a day here, we're all good. CPCTC is not part of your quiz, should not be shown on your quiz tomorrow. All right. Homework is 4 proofs, 2-column style. If you get done with the proofs, I don't know if you will or not, but if you do, feel free to start the delta